in the shadow of an ancient mansion on the outskirts of the city of Karkati, which for centuries was known as a place of mystical events and inexplicable disappearances. The demon Azrael hid from human eyes for many years. His story began many centuries ago, when he was summoned by a magician as a result of a forbidden ritual performed on the territory of an ancient cemetery. Azrael took the form of an insidious creature who sought to find a way to the worldly essence through human fears and weaknesses. However, the power contained in his calling turned out to be stronger than the magician expected, and the demon was able to gain freedom by remaining in the human world. For centuries, Azrael wandered the earth, feeding on men's fears and gaining strength from their despair. He witnessed wars, epidemics, and disasters, devouring the souls of those who came to him for help or power. One day, in the mid-19th century, he turned his attention to a young woman named Elizabeth, who lived in the mansion where he was now hiding. Elizabeth was beautiful and mysterious, strong and independent, and at the same time, she was obsessed with the idea of leaving her possessions and going in search of adventure. Azrael decided to use her desire for his own purposes. He began to appear to her in her dreams, introducing himself as a long-awaited companion, promising to show her worlds that she had never even imagined. He convinced her that she must find the key to the gate to a world where her deepest desires are fulfilled. With each dream, Elizabeth became more and more immersed in the world of dreams and illusions until, finally, one day, she decided to make a deal with the demon. In exchange for his soul, Azrael promised her the opportunity to explore all worlds and learn the true essence of existence. So Elizabeth set off on a journey through space and time, crossing worlds ruled by laws unknown to the human mind. However, with each passage through the gate, she became less and less a person, and more the embodiment of other people's fears and desires. Azrael, taking advantage of his new possession, began to expand his power over reality, absorbing not only the souls of those who trusted him, but also spreading his darkness to all nearby worlds. One day, when Elizabeth was on the verge of losing her humanity, she realized that the only way to free herself from the terrifying influence of the demon was to destroy the very first gate through which she entered this world. Gathering the last remnants of her will, she found this gate and decided to sacrifice herself to prevent the further spread of evil. The demon Azrael found himself defenseless, having lost his victim. In the blink of an eye, he was destroyed, returned to the world of darkness from whence he came. But Elizabeth's story did not end here. Her soul, freed from demonic influence, found its peace in a world of light and goodness, leaving behind only the legend of a woman who once fought the demon himself to save the world from his enslavement. Despite the victory over the demon Azrael, the consequences of his influence turned out to be much deeper than ever imagined. The gate through which Elizabeth entered the world between dimensions remained open, its powers dragging dark shadows and unexplained forces behind it. The world began to change. Ordinary people began to encounter mysterious phenomena that went beyond their understanding. In the area where Elizabeth and Azrael's mansion was located, strange things began to happen. People disappeared, leaving only traces of their presence in the world. Shadows and ghosts began to appear around the mansion, personifying tendencies and fears alien to the world. Townspeople who previously did not believe in the existence of the supernatural began to disappear en masse or lose their minds, claiming to have seen ghosts or heard the whispers of decayed souls. Panic and fear gripped the city, and the authorities were helpless in the face of unexplained phenomena. By the time the disappearances brought attention to the disappearances were disappearances. Among the disappearances that attracted attention were those involving the family of a local aristocrat, Count Damien Pharaoh. The Count was known for his connections to occult practices and studied ancient texts about interdimensions. His mansion stood not far from where Azriel and Elizabeth completed their deal. In the blink of an eye, the Pharaoh family disappeared without a trace. Their disappearance caused a wave of rumors and speculation among the townspeople. Some reported seeing a strange light flickering in the night around the mansion, while others claimed to hear inhuman screams coming from its walls. Local police searched for traces, but found nothing but mysterious artifacts and clots of strange substances that could not be explained by conventional methods. Soon, public debate and disagreement began regarding who or what might be responsible for the disappearances. At this time, other anomalous phenomena began. The air around the mansion seemed to be filled with energy from other worlds, creating flickering portals and time shifts. People who accidentally entered these zones lost orientation and consciousness, returning with strange memories of incredible worlds and creatures. The roots of evil, laid by the demon Azriel and the open gates, began to penetrate deeper into the fabric of reality, fueled by human fears and desires. The city plunged into chaos, and those who tried to investigate the causes of what was happening became victims of these very phenomena. Despite the efforts of local authorities and specialists, the situation continued to deteriorate. Eventually, a legend developed that only those with the strength and purity of soul would be able to close the gate and return the city to normal. However, finding such a person turned out to be an extremely difficult task in a world where the darkness and illusions of interdimensions turned against their creators. However, among those who remained in the city, there was one unusual woman, Emilia Morgan. She was a renowned scientist and researcher of anomalous phenomena, but in recent months she began to study something much more mysterious and dangerous. Her research led her to the realization that behind all the events that take place there is something inhuman that is affecting the city through the open gates between dimensions. Emilia Morgan was the owner of a rare gift, the ability to see and feel energy flows that are not visible to the ordinary eye. She delved into the study of ancient texts and mystical artifacts that were found in the vicinity of the Pharaoh mansion. Her research led her to the conclusion that the key to closing the gates and ending the influence of darkness may lie in the consciousness and spiritual strength of those who remain uninfected by the sinister influence. She began to gather a team of like-minded people, including scientists, magicians, and researchers who were ready to risk everything to save their city. One of the first to join her group was the young magician Edric Darren. He had strong magical abilities and was ready to make any sacrifice to stop the spread of darkness and save his loved ones. Edric was sure that in the depths of the Pharaoh mansion, there was a clue that would help them understand how to close the gates between the worlds and rid the city of anomalies. Thus began a dangerous journey through the abandoned rooms and mysterious corridors of the mansion. Every step was overshadowed by the presence of dark forces, ready to destroy anyone who dared to resist them. However, Emilia and her team continued to move forward, realizing that they had no choice. They soon discovered an ancient altar on which a forbidden ritual was to take place, causing the opening of the gates. Emilia and Edric performed long hours of ritual aimed at closing the gate and driving out the darkness. But each of them felt that the demonic entity was resisting the closing of the gates, and their strength was running out. In moments when it seemed that they could not win, Emilia remembered the fate of Elizabeth and her sacrificial act. She focused what was left of her will and strength to complete the ritual. Everything around flashed with bright light, and a moment later, the gates between the worlds closed. Since then, Emilia Morgan has become a legend of the city, whose courage and determination saved it from evil. She and her team continued to study the anomalies left after the gates closed, but now they had the knowledge and power to protect their world from any mystical threats. However, in the night when the gates closed, in the shadow of an ancient mansion on the outskirts of the city of Karkati, something slumbered, something that did not know defeat and was waiting for its time to awaken again.